Hey, does anybody here get motion sick? Well, motion sickness is just a form of dizziness. My name's Amy. I'm a vestibular physical therapist, which means I treat dizziness and balance problems, including motion sickness. So while there are a few factors that go into whether you feel motion sickness or not, a really common phenomenon is that a patient feels sensitive to the motion of a surface underneath them, and prolonged exposure to a moving surface that they have to rely on causes them to feel dizzy, aka motion sick. In my patients who experience motion sickness from the surface moving underneath them, and there are ways that we can diagnose that that's the cause, I always explain something that I call the cabbage phenomenon. If you had something round like a head of cabbage in your trunk with nothing else in your trunk, and you pressed the brake or the accelerator or you turned the wheel of your car, what would that ball or cabbage do? If you slow down, it rolls forward. If you turn left, it moves right, and etc., etc. That's because the surface underneath the cabbage is moving, and the cabbage has no ability to impede that movement, so therefore it kind of stays put, whereas the surface moves underneath it, which makes it actually roll. That's physics. Well, in the case of a car and moving surface, while you are sitting down, whether you know it or not, your body, your spine muscles, your core muscles are turning on at different times to try and stabilize you in an upright position through the motion of that car. So not only do you have to read what the car is doing, but your brain has to turn on the correct muscle patterns and posture patterns to keep you from toppling over, even though you're in a nice, comfy seat. If your brain and body are having difficulty reading what the surface is doing, prolonged exposure to that can cause you to start to feel dizzy, aka in this instance, motion sick. I treat motion sickness by identifying the causes of the motion sickness, and in this case it is surface dependency. If a patient is having difficulty reading the surface, I will give them center of gravity control exercises where they practice reading those surfaces and turning on all the correct muscle combinations over a variety of surfaces, and by exposure the patient actually gets stronger at these activities. You can find a vestibular physical therapist who does what I do by going into vestibular.org and typing in your zip code and find one near you.